Okay, let's unpack this idea because it feels different. Forget traditional selling, like really forget it when it comes to digital products. We're diving into what some are calling digital products 2.0, and it seems it's all about this game-changing concept,
Yeah.
positioning.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? This whole shift away from, actively pushing a product towards just strategically placing it. Think about it like this. You want a cold drink on a really hot day. Are you more likely to buy from some guy shouting from a quiet alleyway or from a stall right inside the park entrance where everyone's heading?
Exactly. And remember that cookie analogy we found? Instead of trying to sell your cookies on some deserted street corner, that's a hard sell, right?
Yeah.
Imagine just setting up your little stand right in the middle of a busy mall food court. You're positioned right next to the big sign that says desserts. People are already thinking about something sweet. You don't have to create the craving.
You're just there to satisfy it, perfectly
Uh,
positioned. And that really, really highlights the power of distribution. It's about making this effortless connection with a desire that already exists. Like our note said, the goal is for it to feel effortless. It's that strategic connection, not, forceful convincing.
and that's exactly what we're digging into today. Our mission really is to figure out how you actually get your digital product in front of the right people, the right audience. We're pulling from our research notes, and there was this pretty revealing YouTube discussion too. And for you listening, the learner, we promise we're going to pull out the most important bits, those real aha moments. We'll focus on the compelling stories, maybe some stuff you haven't heard before, and skip the fluff.
Right. And we'll look at this core framework they mentioned, the 3Ds. Develop, distribute, and deliver. Now, creating the product, that's the develop stage, that's obviously essential. And it's interesting, they even mentioned using AI now to make non-expert products,
Yeah.
even facelessly, just from recordings. But honestly, where the emphasis really seems to lie and what we're focusing on is that crucial middle step, distribution.
Absolutely. One of our sources put it so bluntly, didn't it? The most powerful skill that you can have in business, which is distribution.
Hmm.
So forget the old school sales playbook. It's all about making sure you're visible in the places where your ideal customers are already looking, already hanging out, which brings us to this big idea, distribution versus selling.
And this is where that cookie analogy just clicks, right? The transcript even asks, which one would you prefer to go for? Do we want to sell or do we want to distribute? And the answer is obvious. Of course we want to distribute. We want it to feel effortless. It's about choosing the path that gives you the most impact with the least, friction.
Totally. Think about the big brands you see everywhere. Like the notes highlighted, that is why every single big brand on the shelves of Walmart, you hardly ever see them trying to sell their product to you.
Mm.
They've just mastered being available right where you already are when you're already shopping.
So the core message seems pretty clear. Forget the word sales. Just stop. And stop trying to force people into buying your digital product and instead focus on just positioning your product where your ideal customers already hang out. That's the heart of this digital products 2.0 thing, strategic placement.
Okay, so speaking of where these customers are already hanging out, our sources dug up something really fascinating, a platform that honestly many people might not even know exists. It's called the Gadzhi Marketplace, or WOP.
Yeah, WOP. And what's really striking is just the scale of it and the untapped potential there. The transcript says it pretty directly. The WOP is the biggest digital marketplace that maybe you've never heard of.
Huh.
And get this, they're accessing an untapped source of buyers moving $2 to $3 million a month in digital product sales. That's significant.
The numbers are genuinely wild. They've got one source called a funny predicament. Listen to this. We have way more customers than we have sellers. Like way more. In the last 30 days, we had over 571,000 unique transactions on Gadzhi. The problem is we only had 10,000 people to supply that. Did you catch that? Over 500,000 potential buyers.
And only 10,000 sellers to meet that demand. That's a huge gap.
Right. It's a massive imbalance.
And that imbalance, well, that creates this incredible opportunity, especially right now. According to what we read, just listing your digital product on Gadzhi, it's basically like getting free distribution. You're putting your cookies in that dessert section, like you said, tapping right into existing demand without having to go out and, drum it up yourself.
It feels like passive income, but amplified.
Okay.
The average earnings they reported for users on Gadzhi, around $9,000 a month. And the whole marketplace seems to thrive on what they described as the Amazon flywheel effect.
Exactly. It's that idea Jeff Bezos talked about, and it applies perfectly here, meaning the more others sell, the more you sell just by having your digital product listed there on WOP.
Hmm.
It is a win-win situation. It is a virtuous cycle. So more products bring in more buyers, which means more sales for everyone on the platform. It just keeps feeding itself, growing bigger.
And it's not like a zero-sum game where everyone's fighting over the same customers. Our notes actually emphasize this. Each new creator who joins doesn't just compete for the same pool of customers. They actually expand the entire ecosystem. It really is like a rising tide lifting all the boats, isn't it?
Yeah, it seems so. And what's also interesting is this idea of kind of influencing Galaxy's algorithm. They called it a force distribution method.
Yeah.
Apparently, by focusing on maximizing the time users spend actually engaging with your digital products, they mentioned two specific key metrics. You can sort of nudge the platform to show your product to more people.
Okay, and here's where it gets really, really interesting. The transcript shared this amazing real-world example. Get this. A digital product went from 200 users to 1,700 users in just 3 days, solely through the Galaxy marketplace. That works out to about 500 sales a day. Now, imagine if your product costs, say, $50. That's potentially $25,000 in one day.
Whoa. Okay, now, obviously, we need to manage expectations here, right? Not everyone's going to hit those kinds of numbers straight out of the gate. That's like outlier territory. But even if you only achieve, say, 1% of that success, that's still 5 sales a day. And if you do the math, 5 sales a day could realistically lead to around $7,500 a month, which, interestingly, lines right up with that average user earning figure they mentioned, so it seems quite achievable.
Just to make this even more concrete, we found some super recent, almost unbelievable success stories just last week, apparently. These two guys, JC and Connor, they reportedly made $16,000 within just 24 hours of uploading their products to Galaxy. So this is in theory. It's happening like right now.
Yeah, those examples really hit home, don't they? They just underscore the potential impact of tapping into a marketplace that already has this built-in demand and an effective distribution engine. But okay, just being seen isn't the whole story, right?
Yeah.
Once you get those eyeballs, the quality of your packaging becomes absolutely critical.
Right. As our notes put it so well, distribution gets your product on the right shelves in front of the right eyes. But it is your packaging that makes someone stop scrolling and think, you know what, this is exactly what I need. It's got to instantly build that trust and spark that desire to actually buy.
And the cool thing is, the ideal structure for a product page on Galaxy seems pretty straightforward, much like, the Amazon model that works so well, basically. A strong headline to grab attention, a video, and our sources really stress the video is the most important part for engagement, and then just a clear, direct call to action button. The transcript literally says, all you need really is a page with a video, a headline, and a button. That is literally all you need. Simple.
And if making video sounds daunting, don't sweat it. Our sources mention there are actually proven video scripts available, and even like user-friendly software tools designed specifically to make creating those videos way easier.
Okay, but the distribution opportunity doesn't just stop with Galaxy, right?
Mm-hmm.
To really multiply your income potential, the next strategic step seems to be leveraging search distribution, and that primarily means platforms like YouTube and Google.
Exactly. The transcript pointed out something huge. YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world. It's insane. It really is. And the amazing synergy is that Google often features YouTube videos right in its search results.
Right.
So one really well-made, well-optimized video
So can unlock distribution on 2 massive platforms at the same time. Huge leverage. And look, this isn't about suddenly needing to become some kind of full-time YouTuber churning out videos constantly. That's not the idea. The smarter strategy seems to be creating just a few, maybe 3 to 5 really key strategic distribution assets. These core videos that consistently attract viewers who are actively searching online for the exact solutions your digital product offers.
And the potential reach here is just mind-boggling. We heard about single YouTube videos generating figures like, get this, $20 million. Another one with maybe fewer views still pulled in $2 million. And to make it feel less intimidating, think about that simple example they gave. Someone searching how to grow tomatoes. Apparently, there are hundreds of thousands of searches for that phrase in similar terms every single day. You only need a tiny, tiny fraction of those people to find and watch your video consistently over time to get some serious traction.
And the underlying principle, again, it's the same. Distribution, not selling. The transcript really hammers this home. We're not trying to sell anyone here. We're not selling, we're distributing. Okay, that is the power of search distribution. So the videos need to offer real value up front. Maybe share your top 3 tomato growing hacks or something useful like that. And then naturally you just guide the viewers who want more, who want the full system, to your complete digital product, link in the description.
And you don't even need to be on camera for these. You can do it effectively with just screen recordings and a good voiceover.
Yeah.
There was this incredible story about a totally faceless YouTube channel in Brazilian Portuguese, of all things. It apparently generated hundreds of thousands of dollars in passive income year after year for 6 years, all from a single 37-minute video just talking about persuasion techniques.
Wow. That just highlights the incredible long-term passive potential of creating these core distribution assets, doesn't it? You put in the work to create them once, nail the value, optimize them, and they can just keep working for you, attracting interested customers for years. Pretty amazing.
Okay, so you've potentially tapped into Wallaxy. You've got search engines working for you. What's next? The next logical step to broaden that reach even further seems to be social distribution. So think platforms like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn, even YouTube Shorts.
Right. And the core approach is actually quite similar. You're still sharing valuable bite-sized content, like those top hacks we talked about for YouTube. The main difference with social media is usually the frequency. You often need to post more regularly to stay visible in those faster-moving feeds. But the efficiency comes from being smart about repurposing. You can take your core content and repackage it in lots of different ways.
Exactly. Let's take those top 3 tomato hacks again. You could turn that into loads of short, engaging videos or posts just by changing the opening hook to grab different types of people. Our notes gave examples like 3 secrets to growing tomatoes like professional farmers, or maybe stop making these 3 beginner tomato growing mistakes. It's basically the same core value, just packaged up differently for different platforms and attention spans.
And again, going faceless is totally an option here too. You can use things like engaging background videos, stock footage, cinematic shots, just with text overlays explaining the tips. And they even mention leveraging AI tools like something called Ghostwriter OS, which can apparently help automate a lot of that content creation, adapting your core ideas for different social platforms.
So when you start combining all these channels strategically, you've got the immediate potential of Wallaxy, the long-term organic reach from search engines like Google and YouTube, plus the broad engagement from social media. You end up creating this really powerful kind of self-sustaining system where your ideal customers just naturally find their way to your product. And this leads to something our source has called private victories. I really like that phrase.
Me too. Those private victories, they're the quiet moments, right? The deeply satisfying feeling of seeing those sales notifications pop up while you're, I don't know, relaxing, having dinner, spending time with family. It's knowing that the systems you built are actually working for you, generating income passively. The notes said it's often 100 times more satisfying than the public victories of like chasing a sale.
And the financial impact cumulatively can be genuinely life-changing. I mean, imagine consistently bringing in that extra $7,500 a month we talked about, just from a handful of sales each day. That kind of consistent income. That can be the key to real financial independence. It empowers you to maybe leave a job you don't love, to pursue things you're actually passionate about, to become, as they put it, truly ungovernable.
We also briefly touched on that monetized program they mentioned. It sounded like it offers several, let's call them unfair advantages to kind of speed up results.
Yeah, things like synthesis AI for making products faster, trained on Wallaxy data, apparently, that Ghostwriter OS for automating content, also premium distribution within Wallaxy, like getting the best shelf space. And then there was that big competition, Monetize Mania, with crazy prizes like a McLaren.
The McLaren, wow.
Yeah, a Rolex is a mastermind trip. Plus this win together idea where they're sort of invested in your success and a pretty unique guarantee to coach you until you hit $15,000 in income, which Wallaxy can verify. Sounds intense, but compelling.
Definitely some strong incentives there. And, the real-world success stories really tie it all together, showing how combining these distribution methods works in practice. That story about Dr. Jono and Julio was particularly inspiring. Going from selling cars and working in nonprofits to building a 7-figure business with just one digital product. And how did they do it? By cleverly leveraging Wallaxy and Twitter together. They mentioned one single tweet brought in something like 3,000 signups.
Incredible. And that initial surge from Twitter then helped boost their ranking on Wallexy.
Exactly. Which then led to another 450 customers finding them directly through the marketplace. It shows perfectly how one channel can feed and amplify another. It wasn't just hard work, it was strategy, the right vehicle.
And it brings us right back to that flywheel effect on Wallexy, or like Amazon. Their success bringing those 3,000 plus new users onto Wallexy via Twitter.
Right.
Those users didn't just buy their product. They likely went on to buy other things on Wallexy too, benefiting the whole ecosystem. Like the transcript said, have you ever seen someone who only purchased at Amazon once? No. Once you're in, you buy more.
It really is a virtuous cycle. So I think the core message, the big takeaway from our deep dive today, is really about the immense and maybe often overlooked power of strategic distribution, starting with potentially fertile ground like the Wallexy marketplace, if that fits, and then strategically expanding out to leverage the massive reach of search engines and social media.
Yeah, it boils down to fundamentally shifting your focus. Moving away from that constant, often draining grind of trying to sell, towards the smarter, more sustainable strategy of simply positioning your valuable digital products right where your motivated buyers are already looking for solutions. And making that shift, well, that seems to be the key that can unlock the door to consistent passive income and ultimately genuine financial freedom.
So maybe the question to leave you with is this. Which of these distribution strategies, the marketplace, search, social, or a combination, which one resonates most strongly with you right now? What could strategically implementing even just one of these approaches actually mean for your ability to share your knowledge, create something valuable, and build new income streams? Think about the possibility of creating your own private victories, those quiet wins that build over time.
Absolutely. And perhaps take a little time after this to explore some more. Look into the Wallexy marketplace if it piqued your interest. Or maybe research more about creating that strategic content for YouTube, Google, or your preferred social platforms. The information is definitely out there.